And today I'm going to be showing you, or more in a way learning alongside you, how to use the Vaccinator. Now the first thing you need to learn about the Vaccinator is that, well, the Vaccinator is quite, how would you say this, a bit of a learning curve you'd have, because, well, myself I'm not even really sure about it. And oh, look at that, I've got a new gun to turn to scrap up. That's besides the point. The Vaccinator, there are 3 modes, and they all give you 100% immunity to that type of damage, and 75% immunity to that type of damage too, as normal damage. For example, if a heavy is doing 10 damage with a bullet, then with resistance turned on, the uber charge resistance, it will only do about, say, 2.5, or rounded to 3 or 4, 3 or 2. And say I have explosives, and you'll also notice that not only does it charge at 67% weight, it also has 4 charges that for a total about 2.5 seconds each, so actually a 10-second full uber charge, so even longer than average. And in situations like this, it's more usable too, because it allows you to switch between main types of damage, and will generally allow you to be more as a utility than just an actual uber charge. And while it is difficult as it only protects from certain forms of damage, if you learn how to use it, unlike me, it can be very useful as a way to keep them alive to the front lines. Now, I myself have learned the Vaccinator, but it seems that the charge came from an Uber store doesn't also seem to give a full bar as you'd expect. It seems to give 3/4, which is strange, but it might be due to the fact that it has a 10-second full bar, so it's possible. I apologise for the hiccups. I drank water a bit too fast, but I hope you can ignore it. Now, I myself am learning to use this. I thought I haven't had it for too long, but as you can see, there are sorts of ways you have to play. Another disadvantage is that while unlike the quick fix, you don't have a lowered max overheal. The overheal build speed is decreased to about 66% slower. Now, of course, this doesn't apply to normal healing. With normal healing, you're still going to be healing at an average rate of 24 seconds, but this means that you'll have slower overheal time. This could be a blessing as it allows you to build your overcharge meters faster, but it does cause issues. There's a spy here. This guy's a believe what a lagger is. I recognised before, but that's besides the point. Now, I'm playing on control point because it's the best mode I've had with the Vaccinator so far. And these are things you need to learn reaction and also to react before the damage starts. For example, if I had reacted beforehand, it would be hard. He would have taken too much damage before now. It also seems that the fire resistance seems to completely negligate afterburn, which is useful knowledge to know, but a tip I've had to learn is take a bit of time to learn what the order of change is. For example, from fire it goes to bullet, then to explosive, and then to fire. You don't want to just learn what comes next, you want to learn what comes next twice before, or say 2 times after. So if you have bullet, you should learn that 2 leads to fire and 1 leads to explosive. With fire, you should learn that 2 leads to explosive and 1 leads to bullet. And with explosive, you should learn that 1 leads to fire and 1 leads to bullet. You should learn the order and practice, as fast switching is essential to making good use of the Vaccinator. And there's a much larger difference in skill between an unskilled Vaccinator user like me and the very skilled one. Not only will the reaction be faster, they have perfect change ability and will be able to, well, switch between them more. Now, of course, we have a spy here, and I think he's trying to go through where I was and not where I am, so it might be a lag switcher. But another useful thing about the Vaccinator is not only does it allow you to potentially survive afterburn any time, as the afterburn will be negligible, but it also allows you to survive hacker shots more frequently, as not only is it longer than a normal uber charge, but it also still makes you, I believe, immune to headshots as they're technically critical hits. And it also allows you to be immune to things like, say, Kritzkrieg, explosives and shots, etc. It's like a negligent way counter to the Kritzkrieg, and it's quite useful actually. It's very good, but it's limited. with all three types of damage it causes issues, but those are kind of counters to the Vaccinator, but eventually you should be able to you should learn what to prioritise in your damage resistance. As the Vaccinator, while it does show the bullet above the head, I believe it doesn't actively give that unless using an Uber charge. It has to actually have an Uber to do any resistance. And you can also see that it built very fast. A 67% build rate is very useful because it allows you to have a Vaccinator Uber almost any time. And despite the speed, you still wait when pushing a point for at least 3 or 4 Vaccinators, as they're only 2.5 on their own. 5 seconds of pseudo Uber, which doesn't even block for more damage, isn't entirely useful. The Vaccinator seems like it should be used against things like hackers, or as a secondary or even a tertiary to other mediguns. It allows much more resistance overall, as it's more accessible, but it's not as good as any other resistance. It seems to be less effective. As you can see, there's 2 soldiers here, or 2 explosive classes. It's this situation where the explosive would be useful, and it very much was. It allows him to survive. It also allows him to walk through sticky traps, but he's scared. But yeah, even though this is mostly up to the team doing this, yeah, as you can see, I'm learning a bit what switches to what, and it's allowed me to allow him to survive the situation better. Not myself, because, like I said, I'm inexperienced, but there are a few tips I can give just from gameplay. You probably can't hear them over the sound of my hiccuping, but that was unfortunate. I believe that's from a drink I drank. I really need to learn to edit out respawns, but that's besides the point. Yeah, I believe it also starts you out on bullet resistance. So in a way, the first resistance in the order is bullet, then it goes to explosive and then to fire. And fire 2 times to explosive and so on and so forth. Just learn the order, it's very, very useful knowledge. It allows you to use the Vaccinator actually very effectively. Also, it does not allow you to, well, follow your pockets unlike the quick fix does. It's generally considered better than it was before, but not quite as used, because it's a lot harder learning curve in my opinion than even other medic guns, as it requires actual things like reactions and switching and all, but it can be a lot more useful in some situations because it allows you to survive the first encounters and essentially be a counter to quickspeed better than anything else other than, say, an Uber charge. I don't know if it makes you immune to knockback, but if it does, that'd be very useful. And it also building incredibly fast, as you can see, so even halfway through a fight you can still get another Uber charge if you have at least 2. I made a mistake there, but I would have been immune to, so basically allows potential random crits to be immunised as well. Usually right after time to react, but switching to that resistance as fast as possible is useful. You should also make sure that your natural Vaccinator is on the gradient of, say, what's the most type of damage being taken. For example, in server a lot of pyros on the enemy team, you might want to keep it switched on fire resistance most of the time. With things like snipers and hackers and that, you might want to keep it on bullet, and on servers with lots of soldiers and demos and all that, you might want to keep it stuck on explosive, as they're most likely to come by in large groups. And generally, the Vaccinator just relies a lot on not only game sense, but also reaction speed and muscle memory. And like I said, there's a big difference between very good and very... I've been going in the wrong direction, but there's a big difference between very skilled and unskilled or intermediate. Because it's said that Vaccinators who are very skilled are scary to fight against, and to be honest, I can see why they would be. They'd essentially be able to switch to the most important type of damage resistance needed at the time and make their people semi-uber charged. Attacking with all 3 types at once is kryptonite, or even just 2 fights, but yeah, as you can see, I'm not as experienced as I should be, but thank you, but yeah. As you can see, the heal bonus isn't put down, but the over heal is. This is good in a way as it allows it to build faster, but it also stops over heals. Now as you can see, there's an explosive ban here, and I'm just trying to survive, wait for someone else to come up. The Uber charges are in a way expendable as well. They're very easy to build, and the overheal downwards just increases it up, so you can kind of use it to just stall them off for a while. At least I've seen. Obviously, that'll bite you in the arse in my case, but yeah. Oh, as you can see, there's a scout here. Yeah, you should also observe your surroundings. What enemies are going to come up and all that. And another good thing to learn is it does not stop you from taking melee damage. It does no resistance whatsoever to them. I believe it might get rid of crits if it's immune to all criticals, but I'm not so certain and I don't want to risk it. But yeah, the Vaccinator, as you can probably tell, I'm inexperienced, but you get a general idea. It's more like a temporary survival thing. Kind of like a, how would you say it? I don't know how you'd say it, but it's like an overdose feels useful in what it tries to accomplish. It allows you to escape from a specific type of damage, and even multiple if you're good at switching, but you need to cultivate those skills more with the medigun. It's quite a high skill medigun for probably what is most likely a very useful benefit. Like I've had some situations where the Vaccinator came in good handy against big groups of soldiers. It essentially nullifies their damage and forces them to either be killed or sent back. I apologise for the hiccuping, I can't help it. But it'll make for a funny audio. But yeah. Now of course I'm going to have to load the new maps, and I've never been the best with this, but you never know in my case. It might take years, it might not. That's weird. The stats menu is messed up, but yeah, as you can see I switch my mains quite a lot, but even though I'm not the most experienced, I can give tips to those who are a bit at the time. I just seem to notice, but that's besides the point. We'll go a new game, same map, so we'll start off and start. I don't know if to go in the same class, but they had quite a diverse lineup there, so the Vaccinator wouldn't shine as much as it would against things like hackers or good heavies and all that, or soldiers and pyros generally. I guess the more less diversity they have in their team, the better the Vaccinator would be, as it would allow you to just stay on one term and essentially survive. I've also noticed it seems to build Ubercharge slower on overheal, even slower than normal medigun it seems. I don't know if this is intentional or just me hallucinating or something, but it does seem to be building a lot slower than it should be. But and this is free round where he speeds up infinitely faster, so that might be a thingy of it where on any overheal they can't be healed faster. Oh, I didn't know who he was. You need to watch your back. It doesn't protect from backstabs either, like an Ubercharge, so you're still very vulnerable. So things like melee attacks, probably demo knights and spies are your very big weakness of the Vaccinator. Just like the Kritzkrieg actually, or Quick Fix actually. The Ubercharge is the only one immune to things like that, so generally the Ubercharge is the best you can get. It's just slow building. Oh, there's only 2 people. Yeah, more people should be joining and we can show a one-on-one with Vaccinator. You have the Vaccinator, don't fear anything. Yeah, more people are joining. This is a problem with Valve servers, but I can show some. You see, I got 4 Ubercharges here, 10 seconds. Even longer than normal Ubercharge. And I don't know if they have a medic, but I doubt it. We'll just have to see what they have, but I'll keep it on bullet resistance. As we can see, we have a scout who builds a twice the rate. Another useful tip, but you also might want to jump around too. And if you ever see a sniper that's looking at your direction, pop a quick Uber charge bonus, or pop a quick Vaccinator bullet Uber. It will seriously allow you to survive a headshot if you hit one. As you know, the Uber still has a 100% crit rate, as I mentioned before, but that's besides the point. This is a very small game. Don't ever get in melee with a spy normally. Try and predict where they're going to end up, not where they are. Because trust me, spies like that are not the norm. They'll usually do dupes, but you should try to, well, watch your back afterwards. Luckily for medic, you're faster than most spies, but they all seem to catch up to you in the end. Yeah, I can see there. Yeah, everyone's joined the game now, but it's a smaller game than average, but it allows me to talk without getting shot up. They seem to have only spies, or at least more spies. Another. Oh, a friendly medic. Odd. Oh, that's just a try hard. Damn it. That's unfortunate. That's it. Back to the Vaccinator talk. Yeah, you can see in this gameplay, I haven't shown it much, but you get the general point. Fast reactions, all that stuff. I know I'm repeating a lot, but it's very, very important to a good Vaccinator. And as a medic, you should be able to use all mediguns competently, as not one's better than the other. It's turned to a friendly game, so... But let me show the Uber charge taunt. Oh, that was an accident. You should also learn the taunt kill times. To the point, lads. I'm just going to end this game so far. It's a bit quick treat, possibly. To the end point, mate. This is fun. I'll leave this in as a bit of a treat. Might show a Vaccinator Uber at the end, as they only have a scout on their team. This is going to kill him. I should have done that, but this probably isn't as useful as it should be, as I'm inexperienced myself, but